If you're reading these words right now, something inside you already knows your life has been running on autopilot. Not the comfortable kind where things flow effortlessly, but the suffocating kind where you watch yourself making the same decisions, feeling the same emotions, recreating the same results day after day, year after year, like you're a passenger in your own existence. This isn't your fault. Take a deep breath with me. In through your nose, 4 counts. Hold it, 4 counts. Out through your mouth, 6 counts. Notice the temperature of the room on your skin. Notice any sounds around you. Feel your heartbeat. You're here, present, now. Here's what's really happening. You've become the observer stuck in monitoring mode. You watch your patterns. You name your triggers. You see the loop. But you're sitting in the backseat of the car, watching someone else drive your life. The fact that you're watching this video today, at this exact moment, that's not random. That's synchronicity knocking. Your consciousness is ready to shift frequency. The promise is simple but profound. The moment you stop only observing and start creating, you change the plot and the direction of everything. Observing is important, but observing without creating freezes the present in place. Creating is choosing and emanating a new frequency that collapses different possibilities into form. What's coming? Real examples from daily life, science made accessible, a personal story that proves this works, and a daily protocol you can start today. My intention for our time together is that you leave with a practical framework and an identity shift, from observer to creator. Let's begin. You're standing in line at the bank. Minutes tick by. You watch the clock. Watch the people ahead. Watch your frustration rise like steam. But here's the thing. You're just watching. You're the observer of your own irritation, silently cataloging every delay, every inefficiency, and nothing shifts. The frequency you're tuned to? It's complaint, not creation. Same pattern plays out in your relationship. You monitor from the sidelines. You notice what's missing, what's wrong, what they're not doing. But you don't ask for what you need. You don't speak the future you want into the space between you. You observe the gap and hope somehow, magically, they'll read your mind. They won't. Because observation without intention is like staring at a locked door waiting for it to open itself. Your body sends signals: pain, tension, exhaustion. You Google symptoms. You research. You observe every ache like a detective at a crime scene. But do you change your breathing? Do you move differently? Do you rest when your system screams for rest? Or do you just watch yourself deteriorate, taking mental notes as if awareness alone were medicine? It's not. Opportunities appear. You see them. You compare them. You wait for the perfect sign to make your move. But while you're observing, analyzing, weighing pros and cons in your head, someone else is creating. They're not waiting for permission from the universe. They're building the bridge as they walk, and you? You're still on the shore watching the water, wondering why you never cross. Here's the raw truth. Observing without creating is like watching the same film expecting a different ending. You're the editor who sits in front of the footage but never enters the editing suite. You see the rough cut. You know what needs to change, but you don't cut scenes. You don't record new takes. You don't rewrite the script. And so the story stays the same. The consciousness that only observes reinforces what already is. But the moment you step into the role of creator, everything available to you multiplies. And what's coming next? It'll show you exactly how to flip that switch. Think of reality like a radio. Right now, there are dozens of stations broadcasting simultaneously: jazz, rock, news, silence. They all exist at once, but you only hear the one you're tuned to. That's superposition in plain language. Multiple possibilities are live, humming in the field around you. When you only observe, you stay locked on the channel that's already playing. But when you intend and feel, you turn the dial. And the moment you do, a new program collapses into your awareness. That's not magic. That's how consciousness works. Observation alone is passive. It's staring at a seed on the table and expecting it to sprout. You can look at it all day. You can study it, photograph it, talk about its potential. But looking doesn't grow anything. Planting does. Watering does. Giving it sunlight does. Intention is the hand that moves. Feeling is the water. Action is the soil. And together, they change the destiny of the seed. The observer sees what is. The creator decides what will be. Now here's where it gets practical. Your brain doesn't know the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. Neuroscience has proven this. When you imagine something with emotion and repeat it with focus, you're carving new neural pathways. It's like training a muscle. The more you rehearse a thought with feeling, the more your brain wires itself to that frequency. And once the wiring changes, your choices change, your actions change, your results change. You're not hoping for a different life, you're building the circuitry for it. There's a man who used to sit at his desk every morning, visualizing himself speaking on stage. Not once, every single day. He'd feel the lights, hear the applause, sense the presence of the room. He didn't have a booking. He didn't have an audience. But 6 months later, he got an email, out of nowhere, inviting him to keynote an event he'd never applied for. Synchronicity? Sure, but synchronicity follows frequency. He wasn't observing his empty calendar. He was emanating the state of someone already on that stage. Here's the image that makes it click. Your focus is a dimmer switch. In a dark room, you can't see the furniture, the walls, the doors. But the moment you turn up the light, form appears. Pathways reveal themselves. Suddenly, you know where to move. That's what intention does. It doesn't create something out of nothing. It illuminates what was always there, waiting in the quantum field for your attention. And once you see it, you can step toward it. What's coming next will show you exactly how to turn up that dial and keep it steady, even when doubt tries to flicker the lights. There was a man who lived in cycles. He'd get close to success, so close he could taste it. Then something would collapse. A deal would fall through. A project would stall. A relationship would fracture right at the edge of deepening. And every single time he'd sit there, refreshing his email, checking his metrics, scrolling through analytics like a doctor monitoring a patient in critical care. He thought he was being diligent. He thought he was staying on top of things. But really, he was reinforcing the old reality. Every refresh was a vote for not yet. Every anxious check was a signal to his consciousness that something was still missing. He didn't see it at first. The pattern was invisible to him because he was inside it. But one afternoon, after another almost breakthrough turned into another letdown, something clicked. He realized he wasn't creating anything new. He was observing the same loop, hoping the ending would change. He was the observer trapped in his own film, watching the same scenes play out, frame by frame. And the frequency he was broadcasting? Pure lack. Pure, when will it happen? Pure separation from the thing he claimed he wanted. So he made a decision. A real one. Not a wish. Not a hope. A commitment. He stopped checking. He stopped monitoring. He stopped asking the universe, "Is it here yet?" Like a kid in the back seat on a road trip. Instead, he started emanating the frequency of already having it. Not faking it, not pretending, but genuinely shifting his internal state to match the person he'd be once the goal was real. He walked differently. He spoke differently. He made choices from that place. "I already am" became his operating system. Not "I will be," not "I hope to be," "I am." Within days, synchronicity showed up like a knock on the door. A message came through, unexpected out of nowhere, from someone offering a partnership he'd never even pitched. The exact collaboration he'd been trying to force for months just appeared, effortlessly, because he'd stopped chasing and started resonating. Then came an invitation to speak on a podcast about the very topic he'd privately committed to embody. He hadn't told anyone. He hadn't posted about it. But the field knew. Consciousness responds to frequency, not words. And his frequency had changed. The third sign was subtle but undeniable. He ran into an old contact at a coffee shop, a person he hadn't seen in 2 years. They sat down for 10 minutes. In that conversation, A single sentence unlocked a project that had been stuck for months. It wasn't luck. It wasn't coincidence. It was alignment. When you stop being the observer waiting for proof and start being the creator living as if, reality reorganizes itself around your new frequency. The man learned something profound that week. Less surveillance, more presence, less refresh, more trust. Less, is it happening? And more, I'm already walking in it. Here's what he'd tell you now if you asked him what changed everything. It wasn't a technique. It wasn't a ritual. It was the moment he stopped watching his life from the outside and started living it from the center. He stopped being a spectator of his own potential and became the author of his next chapter. The observer waits for evidence. The creator generates the evidence by embodying the state first. And once you make that shift, once you stop checking the scoreboard and start playing like you've already won, the synchronicities don't just show up, they flood in. And what's coming next will give you the exact framework to step into that creator state and hold it steady, no matter what the external world is showing you right now. The creator doesn't wait for measurements. The creator works at the level of potential. You feel the future as a stable internal state, and that state guides every micro-action you take today. It's not visualization for 5 minutes and then abandoning the frequency for the other 23 hours. It's living as if. It's making decisions from the end result, not from the current circumstance. You're not reacting to what is. You're responding to what's becoming. And that shift, from measuring to emanating, is where transformation begins. Think of it like a garden. You can stand there and observe the weeds. You can catalog every problem, every patch of dry soil, every invasive plant choking out space. That's the observer. But the creator? The creator sees what could grow. They choose seeds intentionally. They prepare the ground. They water daily, even when nothing's visible yet. They trust the process because they understand that creation happens below the surface long before it breaks through. One is passive documentation, the other is active cultivation, and only one produces fruit. Let's make this practical. In your relationships, the creator doesn't monitor what's missing. They ask clearly for what they need. They practice presence. They offer appreciation daily, not as manipulation but as frequency. A simple, I see you, or thank you for this, shifts the field between two people faster than 100 unspoken resentments ever could. Consciousness responds to what you feed it. Feed resentment, you get distance. Feed appreciation, you get connection. It's that direct. In your finances, the observer tracks every expense with anxiety, watching the balance like it's a diagnosis. The creator prototypes offers. They deliver something small and get feedback fast. They don't wait for the perfect product or the right time. They test, adjust, and move. One client started offering 15-minute consults for free just to practice the energy of serving. Within 2 weeks, 3 of those turned into paid projects. Not because of strategy, because her frequency shifted from I need money to I have value to give. The field reorganized around that truth. Your health works the same way. You can observe pain, Google symptoms, and spiral into fear. Or you can become the creator of a new body. Start with the fundamentals: water, sunlight, breath, sleep. These aren't optional. They're the bricks of your biological foundation. Drink a liter of water before noon. Get 20 minutes of morning sun. Practice box breathing for 2 minutes when stress hits. Sleep 7 hours minimum. These aren't trendy biohacks. They're the basics the creator honors because they know the body responds to consistency, not intensity. One aligned action today builds the frequency for tomorrow. Here's your rule. 1 clear intention, 1 coherent feeling, 1 micro-action. That's it. Don't overcomplicate it. The observer complicates. The creator simplifies and repeats. And what's about to unfold next will show you the exact levels of consciousness at play and how to navigate the resistance that shows up when you start creating instead of watching. Let's map where you are. There are 3 levels of consciousness, and most people bounce between the first 2 their entire lives without knowing there's a third. Level 1 is reactive. Life presses a button, you respond automatically. Someone cuts you off in traffic, your blood boils. A text comes in with a certain tone, your stomach drops. The weather's gray, your mood follows. You're not choosing your state. You're being played like an instrument by whatever's happening around you. Your emotions, your decisions, your entire day is dictated by external conditions. You're not in the driver's seat. You're in the back, being taken wherever the road goes. Level 2 is reflective. You've done the work. You've read the books, listened to the podcasts, maybe even gone to therapy. You can observe your triggers now. You see the pattern. Oh, there I go again, reacting to my mother's comment the same way I did when I was 15. You recognize it. You name it. You might even journal about it. But here's the thing. When stress hits, when the pressure's on, when life squeezes you, you still run the same script. You know the loop, but you haven't exited it. You're aware, but you're not free. The observer in you has grown strong, but the creator hasn't been born yet. Level 3 is where everything shifts. This is the creative level. You don't just observe possibilities, you generate them. You don't wait for your state to match your circumstances. You choose your state and let your circumstances catch up. You act as if you already are the person on the other side of the goal. Not someday. Today. Right now. This is the quantum leap. It's not about more information. It's about a different identity. The recognition that you are not the person reacting to life or reflecting on life. You are the consciousness creating it, shaping it, collapsing it into form with every choice you make from that frequency. But here's what nobody tells you. The jump from level 2 to level 3 is uncomfortable. It has to be. Because to become the creator, you have to let old identities dissolve. The version of you that got validation from struggle has to die. The part that felt safe being the victim, the martyr, the almost person, that has to go. And your system will resist. It'll pull you back toward the familiar. You'll have days where you fall into old patterns, where you catch yourself monitoring instead of creating, where fear whispers, "Who do you think you are?" That's normal. That's not failure. That's the frequency recalibrating. The way through resistance is simple, but it requires practice. When you notice yourself slipping, pause. Just stop, take a breath, then name the old script out loud, even if it's just a whisper. I'm running the not enough program right now. Naming it breaks its spell. Then choose the new script. Say it clearly. I am the creator of my reality. I choose abundance, I choose presence. And here's the key. Don't just say it and go back to scrolling. Take 1 2-minute action in the direction of the new you. Text someone with appreciation. Drink a glass of water with intention. Write 3 lines in your journal as the person you're becoming. 2 minutes. That's the bridge from observer to creator. Small, steady, repeated. And what comes next will show you exactly what signs to look for when the shift is real. How your transformation impacts the collective field and the daily protocol that makes this sustainable for life. Not just a peak experience you visit once and lose. You'll know the shift is real when synchronicity stops feeling like coincidence and starts feeling like conversation. Things line up without force. The right person calls at the right moment. The book you need falls off the shelf. Opportunities appear not because you're chasing them, but because your frequency is broadcasting a clear signal and reality is responding. Time feels different too, fluid, spacious. You get more done in less time. Not because you're hustling harder, but because you're moving with the current instead of against it. Effort decreases. Results increase. That's not luck. That's alignment. Your emotions stabilize. You're not riding the roller coaster of external validation anymore. Good news doesn't make you manic. Bad news doesn't crush you. You stay centered because you know you're the creator, not the character being tossed around by the plot. Decisions become clearer, faster. You don't second-guess yourself into paralysis. You choose, you move, you adjust. The internal noise quiets, and in that quiet, you hear the whispers of the next right step. That's the frequency of the creator, calm, clear, certain. But here's something most people miss. Your transformation isn't just personal, it's collective. When you shift, the field around you shifts. Your family feels it, even if they don't understand it. Your coworkers sense something different.
Habits are social. wired into the morphic field we all share. When you hold a new pattern consistently, you're not just changing yourself, you're sending a ripple into the collective consciousness. You become permission for others to change, not by preaching, by embodying. That's how movements start. One person holds the frequency long enough that others begin to resonate. So how do you sustain this daily? Simple protocol.
Morning. Ask yourself, what wants to be created through me today? Not what you have to do, what wants to emerge. Throughout the day, pause and check. What am I creating right now? Not judging, just noticing. Are you creating tension or peace, lack or abundance? At night, review your day as the creator. Write down 3 pieces of evidence that the new you showed up today. Not huge wins, tiny shifts, a boundary you held, a word you didn't say, a choice you made from presence instead of reaction. This trains your brain to see proof, and what you look for, you find more of. And if you go deep enough, there's a level beyond creator and observer, the non-dual space where the two dissolve completely. You're not trying to create anymore, you're not observing anymore, you're simply moving as life itself, no separation between you and the experience. Action without effort. Precision without friction. You don't think about being the creator, you just are. It's natural, like breathing. That's mastery. And it's available to you the moment you stop trying to get there and realize you've never been separate from it. What's coming in the conclusion will tie all of this together and show you exactly how to step into this new identity starting today. No more waiting, no more preparing, just becoming. So here we are. You've crossed the threshold. You've seen the difference between observing and creating. And here's the thing about crossing that line. Once you recognize it, once you truly see it, it's almost impossible to unknow. You can't go back to pretending you're just a passenger. You can't unsee the steering wheel in your hands. The consciousness that created this moment is the same consciousness that can create the next one differently. This isn't about perfection. It's not about getting it right every single time or never falling back into old patterns. It's about practice. It's about catching yourself in observer mode and choosing, right then, to shift into creator mode. Today, right now, you can edit one scene of your film, one conversation, one thought, one breath. That's where it starts. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel ready. Now. Here's what I want you to do. Go to the comments and write these 4 words. I choose to co-create. That's your declaration. That's you stepping across the line from spectator to creator. Then hit subscribe, leave a like, and share this with someone who's ready to stop monitoring their life and start creating it. They'll know who they are. And if you think this shifted something in you, wait until you see what's coming next. The moment you watch this, your old frequency starts to collapse. That one's going to take you even deeper. I'll see you there, creator.